Mary runs a beauty salon.
Hello.
She arrives at work in the morning and sees one odd thing. Can you spot what's wrong with this place? The mirror images of these two clients are swapped. Mary says hi to all employees, but there's one imposter among them. Can you tell who? This guy over here. Cutting hair doesn't require kitchen ladles. One of the clients is unhappy about her haircut. She approaches Mary and demands her money back. Mary asks two of her best hairdressers, "Ladies, who did this haircut?" Nina says, "It was Sarah." And Sarah blames Nina. Can you guess who actually did the haircut? It was Sarah. The client's little purple hairs are still on her black dress. Mary is taller than Sarah, and Nina is shorter than Mary. We know that only one of the following statements is correct. 1. Sarah is taller than Nina. 2. Nina is taller than Sarah. 3. It cannot be determined if Nina or Sarah is the tallest. Can you guess which one? Statement 3 is correct. The only thing that we know for sure is that Mary is the tallest. If Nina and Sarah have different heights, one of the other statements is also correct. But if Nina and Sarah have the same height, none of the other two statements are correct. Mary walks around the beauty salon to check if everything's fine. Can you find any odd details in this picture? There's a snake hiding in this woman's dreadlocks. After work, Mary is visiting her boyfriend, Steve, at the police station.
Hello.
Steve is a detective. He just finished interrogating these 3 criminals. One of these guys is planning to escape tonight. Can you guess who? There's a nail file in this guy's cake, so he's the one who's planning to escape. Mary and Steve are having a romantic walk in the park late at night. Can you see anything weird here? There are 2 moons in the sky.
Oh my God!
Suddenly, a thief pops out of nowhere, grabs Mary's bag, and runs away.
Oh, no.
Steve follows him, but the thief runs into a nightclub and blends in with the crowd. The thief was wearing a mask, so Steve couldn't see his face. Can you help him catch the criminal? The thief was wearing a gold watch on his right hand, just like this guy. The next day, Mary is holding a workshop for hairdressers. There are 10 students in one classroom. Each person can see the entire room and everyone else. Mary wants to place a wig so that all but one person can see it. Where would you place the wig in the room? She should put the wig on anyone's head. Mary looks out the window and sees a football team in front of the beauty salon. Each guy is holding a sign with some inscription. Can you guess who the message is for? One of the football players is asking Emily out on a date. At the end of her working shift, Mary goes to the basement to check the drinking water supply. Suddenly, the door slams, and she has to find an alternative way out. Mary walks through a creepy basement and finds 3 doors. A tunnel behind the first door is on fire. Behind the second door, there are UV lamps. And behind the third door, there are angry tigers waiting to jump on Mary. Which door should she choose? The first one. She can use a couple of the drinking water bottles and put out the fire. There are 3 ladies waiting in line for a manicure, but one of them cannot get her nails done. Can you tell who? This lady. Take a look at the reflection. It's just a cardboard cutout. The working day is over at 8 p.m. All the employees go home and Mary remains alone. She puts all the cash in the safe locker and goes home too. In the morning, she returns and finds out that all the cash is gone. She calls the police and they question 3 suspects. Nina, the hairdresser, says, "I finished with my last client at 6 p.m. and left right away." Emma, the cleaning lady, says, "I cleaned all of the studio after Mary left. Then I locked the door and went home. I didn't notice anything suspicious." Sarah says, "I was waiting for my last client until 7:30, but he didn't show up. So I rescheduled the appointment for today and went home." Who's lying? Emma. Mary was the last person to leave the workplace yesterday. Mary goes on a date to a restaurant. Her boyfriend brings her flowers and chocolates. In the morning, she wakes up with a severe allergy. She goes to the hospital. Doctors find out that she was poisoned, but they don't know what kind of antidote she needs. Mary needs to identify the source quickly, so she hires a detective. He questions everyone who could give the allergen to Mary. Steve, the boyfriend, says, "We had the same food and drinks in the evening. I don't understand how it could happen." Pizza guy says, "I brought her pizza yesterday, but it was all right for sure. No one else complained about anything." And Bella, Mary's bestie, says, "I think it's her boyfriend's fault. He called me and asked what kind of flowers Mary liked. Who caused Mary's allergy?" Bella. She advised Steve to give Mary allergenic flowers. Mary gets well and goes back to work. She arrives at her beauty salon and sees these 3 clients. Only one of them is a natural blonde. Can you guess who? The first lady has black armpit hair, and the third lady has dark roots and eyebrows. Therefore, they are not natural blondes. And this elegant lady with green hair has light eyebrows and eyelashes, which means she's the only natural blonde among these 3 people. Suddenly, all the lights in the beauty salon turn off. Thankfully, in a few seconds, the light is back again. But Emily yells, "Someone stole my chocolate bar!" Mary interrogates 3 suspects. Emily's client says, "That wasn't me. I just got nail polish applied. And I'm still waiting for it to dry." Nina says, "I'm afraid of the dark, so when the lights went out, I just froze." And Angela says, "Someone pushed me in the dark and I fell on the floor." Who took the chocolate bar? Angela. She has crumbs on her cheek. Steve wants to give Mary a legendary gift for her birthday, but he has absolutely no idea what to get her. He decides to sneak into her laptop and check out her shopping cart. Mary goes to the bathroom and Steve sneaks into her room and turns on the laptop. It requires a password, but Steve doesn't know it. Luckily, there's a note next to Mary's laptop saying 6226. Sam tries it, but it doesn't work. Can you crack the password? Steve should try 222-222-66. Mary puts her stuff in the storage room and leaves for a while. When she returns, she notices that someone has stolen her bag. The manager calls the police and locks the doors. A policeman comes over and identifies 3 suspects. The hairdresser had a live stream with her Instagram followers. The manicurist says that she was focused on her work. And the cleaner says that he was washing the floor and he didn't notice anyone suspicious. Have you guessed who the thief is? The hairdresser. Take a look at her earrings. She left one of them at the crime scene. Mary gives her student Nancy a tricky task. She gives her 3 boxes. Each of the boxes contains hair extensions of a certain color and 2 statements. In one of the boxes, 2 statements are false. In the other boxes, both statements are true. Let's open up the first box. The 2 notes say, 1. Don't use this color. 2. Don't take the color from the second box. The 2 notes from the second box say, 1. Don't use the color from the first box. 2. And take the color from the third box. And finally, The notes in the third box say, 1. Don't use this color. 2. Take the color from the first box. Which color should Nancy choose to pass the test? Nancy should choose the color from the third box.
There was once a magical forest where 32 mermaids, 43 elves, 26 unicorns, and 57 fairies lived. The forest got cursed, and life there got disrupted. The mermaids started living on dry land, forcing the elves to move out. The elves had to move to the territories of the unicorns. The unicorns started to lose their magic powers and needed fairy dust to sustain themselves. So, fairies had to work overtime and were exhausted. There are 4 spells. One will make elves disappear. The second will make mermaids move to the territories of unicorns instead of elves. The third one will heal the species, but only those with an even number of creatures. The fourth will turn unicorns into fairies. Which one should you use? You should use the third one. The mermaids and unicorns are the species that need to be healed, and both have an even number of creatures. Mrs. Collins has 5 daughters: Hannah, Elle, Eve, Anna, and Ava. What is special about their names? They all have palindromic names, meaning they're the same when you read them from left to right and from right to left. Adam was traveling around the world when he found himself in a little kingdom. He didn't have a map or the internet. He was just wandering around. Also, he couldn't read any signs because he didn't know the language. Adam walked into a beautiful castle and ran into 2 girls. It turned out that it was the castle of the royal family, and no one was allowed in there. The girls agreed not to report him, but only if he guessed which one of them was the princess. Can you help him? Look at the wall. There's a painting of the queen and her daughter. She looks exactly like the girl on the right. I bet she's the princess. Genevieve is a time traveler, and she got to ancient Greece. The girl was so mesmerized by everything that she forgot to be careful and blend in. So, she was captured and taken to the emperor. He could tell that Genevieve wasn't from his land, so he started to interrogate her but didn't believe a single word. Still, he was a nice person, so he gave Genevieve a chance to escape.
Yes!
There were 3 young women in front of her. If she guessed which one of them was his daughter, she'd be set free. Can you help Genevieve? Look, this girl has the exact same necklace as the emperor. It must be his daughter. People invented the time machine, and now there are criminals traveling in time and disrupting time flow. The time police tried to catch the imposters, and they need your help. Look at this picture. Do you see the time traveler? It's this dude here. Look at his fancy modern haircut. Back in that era, people didn't have barbershops.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Wild West. Do you see the time traveler here? It must be this person, the one wearing modern sneakers. The next stop is ancient Egypt. Take a very close look and find someone who doesn't belong here. What is this girl wearing? A tank top and shorts? No, she's not from here. Okay, we have to catch some more. For example, here, do you see anything suspicious? I don't think people had cell phones back then. This is the imposter. Okay, another Stone Age image for you. Who doesn't fit in here? This girl looks like a Stone Ager, but she's reading a book. There were no books back then.
Hello.
Great, there's just one last time traveler to catch, and they're in the Middle Ages. Look closely and tell me who you think it is. This guy is wearing headphones. Yeah, that's him.
Oh my god!
Mr. Thompson was in his house reading a newspaper when he heard some noise outside. He walked out and saw that someone had crashed into his car. He asked his neighbors what they'd been doing. Scarlett said that she'd been at home playing video games. Charles said that he'd just come back after a walk with his dog. Tessa said that she'd been gardening behind her house. Who lied? It must be Tessa. She doesn't have any gardening tools with her. And she isn't dressed properly for gardening. Serena was having a party in her house, and she invited all her classmates. In the middle of the party, the lights went off for a couple of minutes. When the light came back on, Serena realized that her parents' expensive vase covered in diamonds had been stolen. 3 people seemed suspicious to her. Tatum said, "I was in the bathroom." Quinn said, "I didn't steal anything. I didn't even know the vase was so expensive." Dean said, "When the lights went off, I fell into the pool and I was pretty busy getting out." Who lied? Dean, for sure. If he had fallen into the pool, he'd be all wet, but his clothes are completely dry. In a little town, someone stole a bucket of chicken wings from a local store. 3 customers were the main suspects. Mr. Cook was interrogated at work.
Hello.
I was in a rush and just got something for lunch. I didn't steal anything.
Mrs. Bailey was at home making breakfast. I only got some fresh vegetables. My family's vegan.
What?
Dale, a college student, was in the park studying. I got my sandwich and left. I didn't know anything about the theft. Who lied? Mrs. Bailey. She said her family was vegan, but she has cheese and cow milk on the table. Vegans don't eat any of that. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one studies or does anything useful. Mr. Relham came back home after shopping with her friends all day and asked her daughters what they'd been doing. I was eating popcorn and binge watching a TV show, said Hannah. I was playing soccer with my friends, said Elle. I was at the beach with some friends, said Ava. Who lied? It must be Hannah. Look, she hasn't even started her popcorn, and there's also a book under her bed. Elle's soccer team played 6 matches in the season. They won 2, drew 2, and lost 2. In total, they conceded 2 goals and scored 3. What are the results of all 6 matches? Every time they lost, they must have conceded at least 1 goal. They lost 2 matches and conceded 2 goals, which means they conceded 1 goal each time. The scores of these matches must be 0-1. We're out of conceded goals, so the scores of the 2 drawn matches should be 0-0. Now, we're only left with 3 goals and 2 winning games. So, in one game, they must have won with a score of 1-0, and in the other, with a score of 2-0. Ava was out partying with her friend all week, so her room is a complete mess now. It's Friday, and she's planning to go on a picnic with her best friend. She needs her bag, her sunglasses, and her cell phone. Can you help her find them? Here they are. Great job. It's Saturday, and Ava still hasn't had time to clean. Now she's heading to her classmate's place for a pool party. She needs her swimsuit, her necklace, and her heels. Can you find them? Yes, they're all here. Ava is getting ready and realizes that a lot of her stuff isn't in the bathroom. She remembers she lent it to Elle. Elle says that the stuff is in her room, which is, of course, also a mess. Can you help Ava find her lipstick, her hairdryer, and her hairbrush? Here they are. Did you find them all? Elle is getting ready for her soccer practice. She needs her football, her sneakers, and her lunchbox. Where are they? They're all right here. Hannah returned home after a short walk and immediately noticed that her favorite bracelet was gone. She knew that Ava loved it and that she was getting ready for a party, so she was the main suspect. Hannah ran into Ava in the bathroom and demanded her bracelet back.
I was taking a shower while you were gone and then getting dressed without leaving the bathroom. I wouldn't have had any time to take your bracelet.
Hannah knew that Ava lied. How? If Ava had really taken a shower, the bathroom mirror would be misted. But look, it's all clear.
One night, Bill and Jonah performed their hit song at the kingdom's festival. The crowds loved it, but the song offended the king. The king told the musicians that he would not leave it unpunished. A few hours before their punishment, they were approached by the kingdom's princess, who happened to be a big fan of their music. She gave them a pair of magic, six-sided dice that could land any way they wished. Soon after she left, a trapdoor opened below Bill and Jonah's feet, and they fell into a deep cavern. In the cavern, a robed figure appeared before them. It turned out to be a powerful genie. The genie told them he could change the king's decision, but only if Bill and Jonah proved worthy of it by completing a couple of challenges. The men were relieved and agreed to play along. Then the genie disappeared behind a wall, and 3 buttons appeared. There was a red button, a yellow one, and a green. Somewhere on the floor, they found a note that read, SSERPHETDREUTBTNO. Bill and Jonah clicked on one of the buttons and managed to open a hidden door on the wall. Which button did they choose? The red button. They unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." In the next room, the genie was waiting for them. He told Bill and Jonah that the next challenge was a game he loved very much, a life-size version of Snakes and Ladders. He told them that the cavern they were in had 100 rooms, all connected by passageways as well, as you guessed it, Snakes and Ladders. The rules remained the same as in the original game, with only 2 exceptions. Both Bill and Jonah had to make their way out of the cavern, reaching the exit in a maximum of 5 turns. However, once either Bill or Jonah used a snake or ladder, it would disappear and become inaccessible to the other person. It was very difficult, but both guys managed to find their way out of the cavern. Can you figure out how they did it? Here's how it worked out. The team had the magic dice the princess gave them, so they could choose the number they needed to reach either a ladder or a snake. But to reach the exit in 5 or fewer turns, they needed to use both snakes and ladders in their strategy. Bill went first and chose to walk 4 rooms. There, he got the ladder up to room 75. Then he diced his way to room 76 and slid down a snake all the way to room 41. Then after another dice roll, he got to room 47. He slid back down to room 30. On his 4th roll, he walked to room 35 and got a ladder up to room 96. He rolled his final dice to room 100 and got out of the cavern. On Jonah's turn, he had to take a different route, as the snakes and ladders Bill used had disappeared. So firstly, he rolled room 5 and got a ladder up to room 15. Then, he got a ladder from room 19 to room 41. From there, he rolled his way up to room 53 and got a ladder up to room 94. And finally, rolled his magic dice all the way to room 100 and towards freedom. In another kingdom nearby, Natalie was the princess and heir to the throne. One day, during her morning walk, Natalie got lost. She found a house in the forest and went to knock on the door and ask for help. The house was owned by an evil witch that captured Natalie. The witch said this was her chance to win the throne and planned on disappearing with Natalie. So she put the princess in a dark, damp cavern. The witch had forgotten, but inside the cavern, there were 3 doors. Natalie could use one of the doors to escape, but behind the first door, there was a fire-breathing dragon. Behind the second door, there were venomous rats. And behind the last door, there was a dark forest. Which door should she choose? The third door, of course. It will lead her straight back to the forest. Outside again, Natalie still didn't know which way to take to get back to the castle. That's when she remembered that her necklace had a magic pendant on it. The king's magician gave it to her, saying it would always help her find her way home. She used the pendant, and 3 magical animals appeared. The first magical animal was a tiger, the second was an octopus, and the third animal was a butterfly. Only one of them knew the way back to the castle. But if she chose to follow the wrong animal, she would find herself even further away from the castle. Which magical animal should she follow? Did you notice the kingdom banner in the throne room? It had tigers on it. It's the official symbol of Natalie's kingdom, which means she would be best off by following the tiger. Alice was at a crowded concert. Suddenly, she felt somebody reaching into her bag and pulling out her wallet that only had credit cards inside. She couldn't see who the person was, but after checking the footage from the surveillance cameras, security guards were able to narrow it down to 3 suspects. Johnny said he was waiting in line to use the toilet for hours and didn't have anything to do with the theft. Jenny said she was super rich and didn't need anyone else's cards to pay for the things she wanted. Penny said she was too focused on singing along with the band to notice what had happened. The security guards immediately figured out who the thief was. Can you figure it out too? Well, nobody told Jenny that the wallet only had credit cards, but somehow she still knew it. Jenny must have stolen it. 2 friends are sitting at the same table in a cafe. One of them is speaking about a TV show he began to produce, getting into all the details of the production. The second friend is talking about the birthday party he is about to throw next week, saying there's going to be a lot of cool people and delicious food. The other people at the cafe are annoyed by the men's loud voices. But why is this dialogue so strange? Why is one of the guys talking about a TV show and the other about a party? Well, these 2 guys aren't speaking to each other. They're talking on their phones, through headphones. Lucy found a new job in another city, so she had to move. She contacted a real estate agent to help her find her new house. He showed her 3 options. The first one was a beautiful studio with a view of the park. The second one was a single bedroom that was within walking distance of a subway station. The third apartment was in a quiet and very green neighborhood. Which apartment should Lucy choose? If you look closely, the first one has mold on the ceiling, and the third one looks like it has a rat infestation. So it looks like Lucy should choose apartment number 2. The school's headmaster looks nervous. He gets to his office and opens the door. It was the end of the semester, and all the students were about to take their finals. When he sat at his desk, he discovered someone had been through his papers, and worse, someone had stolen his copy of the physics final. He asked his secretary to check the cameras and track the last people who had crossed the hallway in front of his office. Soon, she gathered 3 suspects. Jimmy from the robotics team said he passed through the hallway to get to the robotics lab that afternoon. Rachel, a new transfer student, said she got lost and ended up wandering the school's hallway looking for her next classroom. And Drake, a TikToker, said this section of the school was perfect for filming his new videos. The headmaster knew which one of them did it. Can you tell who it was? It was Rachel. The principal didn't recall having any new transfer students. It was the end of the semester. She couldn't have transferred that late in a school year. Vicky is having a reality show audition today.
Action.
But first, she needs to fix her car quickly to get there. 3 mechanics offer their help, but 2 of them are fake. Can you spot who exactly? The first person is wearing an expensive watch. It's too risky to wear them while working. And the third person's nails are way too long for this job, so Vicky should choose the second guy. Vicky has just had an amazing audition. The manager says, and finally, one last question. Can you spot the exact center of this table? How should Vicky answer this question? Vicky should put her finger confidently at the supposed center of the table and say, "This is the center point." Afterwards, the manager may ask, "How do you know if this is the exact center?" In this case, Vicky can reply, "Your last question was the previous one, so I don't have to answer further." The manager just wanted to check how attentive Vicky is. The reality show takes place on an island. Vicky gets her first task. She needs to find a village with other contestants using this map. Vicky has to enter the maze at the left bottom and leave it through the exit point. There are 2 rules. She can go through one circle more than once, and she can move only by exchanging green and yellow circles. Can you help Vicky out? Here's the right way out. Vicky breaks through the maze and finds herself in a creepy room. The door behind her slams shut. To move on to the next level of the game, Vicky has to unlock this door. Can you help her crack this 7-digit code? There's an inscription on the door which says, "The 7 C's." Vicky should try to think literally and enter 7 C's. Vicky opens the door and continues her journey. There are 3 ways to reach the village, but each path is hiding some danger. There's a creepy mummy hiding in the forest on the first path. The second path leads through a castle of a spooky vampire. And there's a hungry zombie waiting on the third road. Can you help Vicky choose the safest option? She should take the second path. The sun is shining, which means the vampire is sleeping. Finally, Vicky reaches the village, and here's her next task. Vicky and Nikki must hang on this beam for 5 minutes. Vicky has a fire under her legs, while Nikki has metal spikes that are moving randomly underneath him. Can you predict who's more likely to win? Vicky, take a closer look at the fire. There's a kerosene barrel under her feet, so the fire will go out in 20 seconds. To find treasures, Vicky has to unlock the final door. She needs to push one of these 4 buttons. But she only has 1 chance. What would you suggest? Vicky has to choose the red button. The symbols on the door are hints. Each of the 4 products can be red colored. After all the adventures, Vicky is finally having lunch. Can you spot anything odd here? Hello! Vicky gets a bed in a dormitory room. She will share it with 4 other contestants. Vicky drops her backpack on the bed and goes to the toilet. In a few minutes, she returns and finds out that someone had stolen her phone. Vicky questions all her roommates. Sam says, "I had a meeting in the lobby. My friend can confirm that." Fiona says, "I was washing my hair in the shower, so I didn't see or hear anything." Diana says, "I spent the last 20 minutes at the laundromat. I came back just now." And Mia says, "Sorry, I was doing exercises on the balcony, so I didn't watch your stuff." Who's lying? Fiona. She said she had just washed her hair, but her curls are dry. The Greens' housemaid Stacy forgets to close the window at night. In the morning, she finds out that some valuables had been stolen. Stacy calls the police. The detective checks the crime scene and puts together a list of all stolen items. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell what was stolen? The candlestick, music box, and vase. The detective interviews the Greens' neighbors. He asks, "Did you see anything suspicious last night?" Maya replies, "Yes, I saw a man in a black hat." Peter says, "I saw a suspicious woman with a big box by the Greens' house." Liam says, "I saw someone dressed as a dragon and another guy with a hiking backpack." And Will says, "I saw a strange masked man near the house 20 minutes after the Greens went to bed." Who seems suspicious? Will. How did he know when the family went to bed? Bob's parents are going on vacation for 2 weeks and leave him alone. His father says, "Bobby, be very careful. No parties at home." But Bob throws parties almost every night. One night, his friends notice a car and yell, "Looks like your dad's car is here, bro!" Oh, no. All the guests clean up the mess as quickly as they can and hide. Parents arrive early and realize that Bob had a party. How? There are 4 joysticks and a pizza slice under the sofa. Spelled forwards, it's what you do every day. Spelled backwards, it's something you hate. Can you guess this word? The correct answer is live. This is Mary. All her hats are white except 2. Also, all her hats are red except 2. And all her hats are black except 2. How many hats does Mary have? Just 3, one of each color. Kate enters the local supermarket to get some fruits. There's an intelligent glass pane installed in the fridge. This glass pane allows cherries and apples to pass through. At the same time, it keeps grapes and melons inside. Can you figure out which rule the glass pane is following? The glass pane only allows the fruits with double letters in their names to pass through. Can you spot anything odd in this picture? Too cool for winter. Kelly visits her bestie, Sarah, but Sarah is crying. Kelly asks, "What happened?" Sarah doesn't say anything. She just shows Kelly a phone chat with her boyfriend. Can you tell what made Sarah so upset? He lied to Sarah about his dog's illness to hang out elsewhere. Take a look at the reflection in his sunglasses. Seems like he's chilling at the beach. Billy enters a dining room. Right away, he spots that someone had prepared a prank. What about you? This chair only has 3 legs. Lily gets a job as a flight attendant. This is her first flight from Hawaii to Mexico City. She's greeting the guests in the aircraft, but 3 passengers on the flight are not humans. Can you spot who? This lady doesn't cast a shadow, therefore she's not a real human. And this one is dressed up too warmly for the hot weather. The guy over here is drinking a weird green liquid with bugs, which is kinda cringy for real human beings. Jill is walking in the park. Suddenly, a street dealer in a mask offers her an original golden watch for $20. Jill agrees, pays, and puts it on right away. Soon, 3 people approach Jill to claim the watch. Mike says, "This watch has belonged to my family for ages. I lost it near the ice cream van." Sheila says, "Someone stole my golden watch today. I was sitting on a ladder and fell asleep for a while. When I woke up, the watch was gone." Stefan says, "I also lost my watch today. I think I dropped it on the 3rd floor of this coffee shop." Can you help Jill return the watch to its actual owner? The The coffee shop doesn't have the third floor, and Mike's hand tattoo is identical to the dealer's, so it's the same person.
Oh.
So the watch belongs to Sheila.
Several birds landed on trees, one bird for one tree. But in this case, one of them didn't have a tree of its own. Then they regrouped, with 2 birds sitting on one tree. After this, 1 tree was left. How many birds and trees are there? There are 4 birds and 3 trees. Look at these 4 people in a grocery store. Can you figure out who's going to steal a watermelon? It's the man with a soccer ball. It seems as if he's holding something heavy. It must be the watermelon disguised as a soccer ball. You wake up and find yourself in a locked room without windows and only one door. You look around and notice a table. There's a piece of paper, a knife, and several inflated balloons lying on it. You pick up the note. It reads, "To get out of here, you must puncture a balloon with a knife. But if the balloon bursts, you'll stay here forever." What should you do to make a hidden door open in one of the walls? You should deflate one of the balloons. After that, you can easily puncture it with a knife. You're walking along the beach and spot an expensive-looking watch in the sand. There are only 3 other people on the beach. Who does the watch belong to? This guy's watch is in his pocket. The tan line on this girl's wrist doesn't match the shape of the watch. The watch must belong to this elderly lady. You've got a sack filled with coffee beans. You need to use this coffee to completely fill 2 other sacks of the same size. How do you do it? Put one empty sack into the other and fill them with coffee. 3 young men came to a coffee shop to prepare for their final exam. A waiter came up to them and asked, "Does everyone want coffee?" The first guy said, "I don't know." The second man answered, "Nah, I don't know." And the third one answered, "Yes." Can you figure out what the first 2 guys ordered? All young men ordered coffee. Each of them wanted to have this drink, but the first 2 couldn't know if it would be everyone's choice. If the first 2 guys hadn't wanted coffee, they'd have simply said no. So when the third guy heard his friend's replies, he figured out that both of them wanted coffee. And since he was going to get a cup, he said yes. You have to think outside the box to crack this one. 1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters. The word 3 has 5. And the word 5 has 4 letters. But the word 4 has 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4, and the game will end there. Vincent got locked in a room with no windows and only one massive door. There's a panel with several buttons on the left and another one with a hint on it on the right. There's also a clock on the wall above the door. Which button should Vincent press to get out of the trap? The green triangle. The numbers on the panel represent hours. If you connect them on the clock face, you'll get a triangle. Add this number to the same one and multiply the result by 4. Then divide it by 8 and you'll have the very first number again. What number is it? It can be any number. You can try it out to make sure. Look at these women attentively. Which one seems to be suspicious? It's the one on the right. The woman on the left was just adding some ketchup to her dish. See that bottle? But look at the pie the woman on the right is holding. There's a smartphone peeking out of the pie. What's it doing there? It's very suspicious. The police knocked on Michael's door late in the evening. They had a search warrant. They accused the man of stealing a big sum of money from a supermarket. Mike claimed that he hadn't left the house all day, but one of the detectives saw something in his living room, and it led to the man's arrest. What was it? Look at the date on the receipt lying on the table. It's the same as the date on the calendar, which means Michael lied about not leaving his house that day. Look at these guys attentively. Can you tell which one has drawn the graffiti? It's the guy on the left. He has some spray paint on his hoodie. An ant is 2 inches away from its home. With every next step, it covers half the distance to the entrance. How many steps will the insect have to take to reach its destination? The ant will never reach the door because every time it'll travel only half the distance. Now, how about solving some rebus riddles? This is the first one for you. High, 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 high. That's high five. The next one, noon good. What's this? That's how you greet people. Good afternoon. Okay, now try this one. Way, progress. It's progress underway. Now let's check how attentive you are. Try to figure out what's wrong in the following images. There's no way anyone can wear those blue shoes. They're both left ones. How about this one? This horse looks rather natural among kangaroos, but it doesn't belong there. What's wrong in this picture? Why would a barn have a chimney? I suspect something is missing in this picture. Can you figure out what exactly? The bus doesn't have side mirrors and windshield wipers. Detective Lucas was called to investigate an accident. A car crashed into a store window and smashed the glass. There are 2 suspects. Both of them deny their involvement. Detective Lucas doesn't need much time to figure out who the culprit is. Do you know the answer too? It's the owner of the blue car. The pattern on its tires is the same as in front of the store. Detective Brown was having her morning coffee in a cafe when she heard a car screeching to a halt, then some loud shouting. She ran outside and spotted a man on the ground. His bicycle was lying nearby. There was also a car sitting next to the man. Detective Brown helped the cyclist up. The car driver came up to them. The cyclist exclaimed, "He hit my bike with his car, making me crash!" But the driver answered, "I saw him losing control of his bike in the mirror. I left my car to check on him." Detective Brown immediately understood who was lying. Can you figure it out? Strangely, the car doesn't have side mirrors, and all that stuff in the back seat blocks the view of the road, so the driver couldn't have seen anything in his rearview mirror either. He's lying. A man wearing a hat, a bandana covering his face, and dark sunglasses robbed a bank. The police have 3 suspects. Look at them and try to figure out which one is the criminal. Usually, people tie bandanas under their ears, but in this case, the bandana covers the robber's ears. It probably hides something that distinguishes the man from other people. The criminal must be that man with only one ear. When Louisa entered the office, she noticed that her colleague Anna was very upset. It was the beginning of the working day, but someone had already stolen her purse. Only those who worked in the company could get into the office. Louisa questioned her colleagues. Maria, who worked in IT, said she'd been fixing somebody's computer. Jane, the secretary, answered she'd been on the phone with some clients. Andrew, a sales manager, said,
I've just returned from a 3-hour-long meeting. I'm exhausted.
Can you figure out who took the purse? Andrew, the working day's just started. How could he come back from such a long meeting?